Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my mental health awareness video series. So this is clip number 5 and it's about grief and loss. So before I get started, I'd like to give thanks and reference Headspace Parramatta for their resources, and still along the same process with my videos, I do put in self-disclosure and that kind of stuff. So what is it? What is grief? Grief is a natural response you experience when you lose someone close to you. Grieving is a normal part of life, and there is no right or wrong way to grieve. Everyone is different. It can begin as soon as you become aware of the loss, such as the shock factor, and can continue over the course of the first 12 months. In saying that, there is no right or wrong time span with grief. Some people grieve easier than others. Some people it takes a lot longer and gets worse over the anniversaries and years of the grieving process of the person who has died. Now, going back on grief and loss, it's not just about losing someone to death. So when you think about grief and loss, it's more diverse. So it could be like a loss of a job, a loss of a friend, relationship. That could be a loss of a romantic relationship, loss of family connection, loss of education, or or not just loss of it. It could be the graduation of it. So it's like, oh, where do I go from here? And then there are other aspects of it, like disenfranchised grief and loss, which isn't really socially acknowledged within society. So when we think of disenfranchised grief and loss, that could be things like miscarriages, abortions, pet loss, that kind of stuff. And for me, one of the huge things that gets me is when people are like I could be like, one of my pets just died, and people are like, oh, it was just a cat, it was just a rat, it was just this, it was just that. And actually, they are part of my family, and I've been with them since they were so young, and throughout most of their life, for you to be able to say that it was just something, it's not, it's family, it's a part of who I am. They have a part in my life, so you can't just tell me that it's just a pet. It is a family member on 4 legs, or 2 being feathered, each their own. Okay, so feelings of grief. There is a wide list of feelings that you can experience through grief and loss, and it can affect you in many different ways. So how you think, what you feel, how you spend your time, so things that you can experience through grief and loss include the shock and disbelief that a person has died, anger or resentment for being abandoned, for the unfairness of the loss, or towards those seen as responsible for the loss, guilt that you were unable to save the person or that you survived while they did not, difficulty thinking about anything else, so always thinking about the person you have lost, or again, career, pet, friendship, relationship, that kind of stuff. We're not just talking about someone who's died. Changes in your sleep patterns and appetite. I know it can affect how much or how little that I eat and how much sleep that I get, or I might get too much sleep because I want to disassociate from the world. Other things could be longing for the person or the career, education, the friendship, anything like that. So wishing they were around to be able to touch them, or to be able to be comforted by them, or distracted, and that kind of stuff. Sadness that the person is gone. This is a major thing that happens within grief and loss, and don't think that just because your sadness is prolonging and stuff like that, that it's a bad thing or it's not normal, because as I've said, everyone grieves differently, and how we all feel different things at different times. Other things are anxiety about the future, so about how things will be without your loved one, or about your own safety. So what we do is we tend to catastrophize in our mind about how things are going to be without this aspect in our life. Other things could be difficulty difficulty concentrating and remembering things. So it could be constantly on your mind, or you may not be thinking about it, but subconsciously you're aware that, like, you know, it's what's stopping you. I know for me that if an anniversary comes around and I'm suddenly feeling down and stuff like that, I'll check the calendar and it'll be like, this person, it's the anniversary of this person's death. And it'll be like, you know, this is completely why, like, I haven't been able to concentrate. This is why I can't remember things. This is why I'm not able to do my daily needs or meet certain expectations of what I'm supposed to be doing. And one more thing is physical changes. So you may get things like headaches, feeling tired, muscle aches, and nausea, which is a normal part of the process. It sucks, but it's a part of the process, and again, everyone will experience different feelings of grief at different times, and it's okay, and it is normal. So things that can help in managing grief, this is something that is important, because sometimes when you're going through grief, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to manage it, and it becomes hard. So a couple of things, or 9 things that I want to go through in managing grief. So we'll start with accepting your feelings. So it's okay to feel sad about it, about losing someone special to you, about losing a job, an association with education, a pet, a relationship, anything. It is okay to feel sad about losing that's something special to you, and it's also to take time to cope with what has happened. Losing someone or something is stressful and upsetting, and it's normal to experience strong emotions. It is absolutely okay. Another thing is allowing yourself time to grieve. This is important. So also, if you can, let yourself cry. You might need a safe space at home or at a school to go to when you're especially sad. I know I can build up my feelings to a point where I'll eventually burst at some time randomly when it's like, you know, it's not the right time. So it can be hard with the initial shock factor and when you're in disbelief to be able to use emotional regulation and actually understand what's going on. But it is okay. It is okay to cry. It's okay to give yourself time for your grieving process. And I am sorry about the birds in the background. The third thing I want to talk about is taking time out. Being around other people can sometimes be stressful and overwhelming, especially if they are also grieving. They could be grieving about the same person, relationships, all that kind of stuff. So things that you could do is for yourself could be like going for a walk, listening to some music, sitting in a park, or doing something enjoyable such as shopping, going to a movie, that kind of stuff. It's important to take time out for yourself during this time of need. Number 4, looking after yourself. So important, and this is something that I tend to be guilty of when it comes through these kind of processes, that I do not take care of myself. So when we say like, you know, how to look after yourself, it's really important to try and keep regular routines of sleep, eating, and exercise. These things can feel hard to keep up with, but it will improve on how you think and how you feel. Something else that can be helpful is collecting memories of your loved one, or events, or career, or relationship, or whatever it is, because as we're saying, with grief and loss, it's not just about losing a loved one. So you could collect memories of the event or the person or whatever it is, and expressing your feelings in a way that feels right for you. We all do rituals differently about how we manage loss. So it could be things like writing your feelings down, writing things down that you did with them, collect photos, make a scrapbook or a journal, write music, create a website or a blog, or poetry, create some artwork, things that allow you to reminisce the positives and the negatives of the person, because let's face it, there are going to be both sides of it, being positive and negative, but it's about, like, you know, what you remember as being the good times, or if it's with the conflict, how you're able to resolve the conflicts and such. So yeah, there's always going to be the good and the bad. Another thing you can do, so this, we're up to 5. Fifth thing that you can do to help manage your grief is finding a way to say goodbye in your own way. Now, this is a lot easier said than done, and I find it really hard. So, for example, if it's a loved one and that has died, going to a funeral for me, I've never done it. I find it hard to be able to accept that the person is gone. So I back off, and I'll jump on a train that day and just go as far out as I can so that I could escape the area for a while I know that the funeral is happening. And I know that closure is a very important part of grief and loss, but yeah, as I said, we all do things differently. So things might be include going to a funeral, writing them a letter, or having a memorial service, going to a park with a candle and a photo of them or something like that, and lighting it, letting go of a balloon on their anniversary and stuff like that. Do what you feel will help you with the closure. Number 6 in management would be allowing yourself to feel happy. This is okay. So allow yourself to feel happy and to move on with your life without feeling guilty. People sometimes feel bad if they let themselves smile, or if they seem to be moving on. It doesn't mean that you have forgotten the person you have lost. Your loved one would have wanted good things for you in your life. And this can take a long time for you to be able to finally be able to let yourself to be happy. It's not a quick fix. But it is something that will help the process get easier, and being able to get on with life more effectively in a healthier manner, really. Number 8, yes, planning for times that may be hard. Now, I know I'm really briefly going over these things because I'm trying to be mindfulness of time. So when you're planning for times that may be hard, like Christmas, birthdays, or anniversaries, it might be easier to do it, like, you know, when spending some time with your friends or doing something that you enjoy for yourself. I know for me, when anniversaries come up, it's like, you know, I just want to be alone. I need to do this myself. I have to do this ritual this way. It has to be done like this. But if you're able to plan ahead and know that, like, you know, okay, this time is coming up, and I know it's going to be really hard, then you might be able to do something a little bit differently to be able to help you move forward, or to be able to cope with the pain a bit easier. So it could be like having friends be with you, or family, or doing something different, like volunteering somewhere to help others, or whatever it is. Just being able to get through those kind of events without being pulled down too hard, because each year, like when you lose someone, can be hard, and yes, the first 12 months will be really hard and it will seem like it's flying, but then I'm not saying that it gets easier for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th year. You will still feel the pain of that loss, but hoping in time that it does get better. And the last thing in managing grief that I have here is finding your own way to stay connected. Honor and remember the person who has died. So for me, this could be whether I'm listening to music that helps me remember the good times that we had, or going through photos and memories that we have together. It could be laying in a park and just talking to them out loud, like, you know, if you were here today, we might be doing this. I'd like to have been doing this. This would have been happening. It would have been your 21st birthday or something like that. Just talking to them out loud is something that I like to do. Lighting a candle for them and stuff. Just doing stuff that would be positive. But yeah, whatever you're doing, it's like in honor to them. Yeah. So finding help. So grief is an experience that can last for weeks, months, or over a year. Learning to live with the loss can take time, and you may experience ups and downs in the process. Grief is not like a straight process like this. It will go up, down, and all over the place before you actually go from A to B. So yeah, if your grief is continuing for a long time, it is if it's continuing for a long time, is very upsetting, or stopping you from getting on with life, or you are grieving for someone who has died by suicide, then it is important to get help. Getting the right support can get you back on track sooner and help you learn how to live with the loss. It is important to find someone you trust to feel comfortable with. There are a lot of GPs out there and other health professionals who are experienced in working with grief and loss, and who have experienced grief and loss themselves, to be able to relate, and like being trained in that kind of area. Yeah, being able to work sensitively alongside with you in your journey. A good place to start would be, or might be, your local community health centre. Talking to a trusted friend, a family member, a teacher, to get help. It's important to remember that you don't need to talk about the details of the experience if you don't feel comfortable or safe to do so. So that's all that I have about grief. It's one of those topics that can be really hard to talk about, which is why I'm only doing what I'm doing. But if you want to have a discussion about this, I open the doors and the opportunities to do so, because raising awareness that grief and loss does have an impact on our physical and our mental health is an important thing, because anything that does have an effect on your day-to-day living, it technically does have an impact on your mental health and well-being. So I invite you to open up a discussion about this in the comments below, and or even better, reply with a video, and we can get this video series going with a like a forum chat thing, just getting some ideas out there. I love feedback, and if you want to do it in a form of a video, then that's pretty awesome, and I can reply back to you the same kind of way. Or if you just want to, if we want to be mediocre, we can stick with comments and stuff like that. However you want to provide feedback, I'm not really fussed on it, just trying to get a bit more creative. So yeah, I hope it was helpful and informative, and I hope it has not triggered people in any way, because it is one of those sensitive topics to talk about, but hoping that the areas around managing grief could be helpful. Yeah, so this is video number 6. Let's get the ball rolling. I have a lot more topics that I can talk about now, so we should get the next video up soon. Until next time.